Jones here. Some of you may know Krista. Krista is the District Coordinator of Academic Programs and Services here for us in the DCCD. So she's busy in all kinds of different things. She's been with the district for a total of 13 years and led different kinds of projects during that time. She's worked with different programs, with grants, and so forth. Right now, she is responsible for career pathways, for international education, study abroad, as well as for teacher education. So she stays very busy. I'm not sure how she managed to get here today. Ms. Jones holds several different industry certifications, including Crucial Conversations Trainer, a Speed of Trust Trainer, Certified Program Planner, etc. There's a nice long list of all the things that she does beautifully. And she's also an award winner with the Dallas County Community Colleges. She's been recognized as an Employee of the Year twice, very impressive. Okay, and she also has a recognition as Innovator of the Year. So she has a lot of things to share, and what she's going to do today is talk to you a little bit about some things associated with networking. And since you're all dressed up looking wonderful in your business attire here today, she's going to help you learn a few additional things that will help you be effective in your interactions with other people. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Jones.
So let's make sure everybody can hear me. If I drop the mic like this and you can't hear me, you got to tell me, because I'm not used to holding the mic right up in my face. Well, I'm really pleased and honored to be here, and the way I got here is actually in a car from one meeting to the next meeting to the next. And I am a bit fortunate where I can really structure my day by my priorities. And when I get to work with students, that is the highest priority of everything that we do, because our district is about you. This is not about us. This is not about facilitation. This is about you. And networking is something that's something I have to do all the time, every day. And it's not something I really would say naturally was easy for me to do. As a matter of fact, I thought it was one of the most difficult things, speaking in front of groups like you, speaking to complete strangers, feeling like you are begging them, asking them to do something for you. So I had to psych myself, and I would encourage you to do that too. Because networking should not be about you. Networking should be about the other person, about the purpose, about helping somebody, about doing something for others. And that's going to make it a much, much easier process for you. It's going to make it more organic for you when you don't feel like, ooh, I'm going to have to ask these people to do something for me and I don't even know them. So networking is something that you do already, very naturally, most of you. And there are a lot of different tools, a lot of different gadgets. And if I would ask you now to pull out your cell phones, to pull out your laptops and iPads and all these things that you have with you, I know we have the table full of all kinds of gadgets. We're really good. And I think if somebody landed from another planet looking at all the gadgets we have, they would say, dang, these must all be master communicators. They got it all. And it does appear like we got it all. But just because we got gadgets doesn't mean we always know how to use them to the greatest extent. So let's talk a minute about the type of networking you're going to be doing. Today, you're going to do face-to-face. And to me, face-to-face can be the easiest and it can be the hardest because you are on the spot. I don't know how many of you may have been ever to Toastmasters or consider Toastmasters. That's a great tool. It's a great opportunity where you can learn these things. Because today, when you're walking around, either from table to table or from group to group, it's a little bit like doing table topics. And sometimes you get put on the spot with a table topic, you're like, whew, I don't know anything about it. Please do not ask me. And you'll be the very first person to be picked. So, let me tell you something. In Toastmasters, it's totally cool to change the table topic. Oh my God, that is so liberating. Because if somebody asks me something about something I don't know about, I'm like, wow, you know, this is a really great question you just asked me. And I wish I had a great response for you right on the spot. but I'm not quite there yet. Why don't you help me? Why don't you tell me a little bit about you? Then I can respond to what you asked me about, maybe a little bit better. Or sometimes it may be convenient to change the topic altogether. And we can just say, well, like one time I was asked, why is purple your favorite color? And I'm standing there, I'm like, it is so not. So, since purple is not my favorite color, why don't I tell you about my favorite color and why it is my favorite color? Completely change the table topic. So when you go around and speak into groups, maybe sometimes you have the opportunity to change the topic that's going on, and it may help you to find an in way into the group. Face-to-face deals a lot with your personality. It deals with your manners. So you really need to be on top of your good manners. Handshakes. Please, please, please shake a hand firmly. On the paper that we were handing out, I put a quote on there, and it says, it takes more time to recover from a weak handshake than it takes to give a firm one. If you remember nothing else, remember that. Now, a firm handshake doesn't mean you have to be bone crushing. So guys, if you have all this strength, ladies, if you do weightlifting, please don't crush bones at this time. Also, you don't have to hold a hand extensively. Shake, let go. It's all you have to do. But do make it sincere. Make sure people understand, yeah, you're shaking your hand, you're in this. The next thing is, of course, eye contact. You kind of want to stay on top with people. You want to look at them when they're speaking to you. If you pull out your cell phone, if I was pulling my cell phone now while I'm speaking and looking at text messages, you're probably, what the devil's wrong with you? You're not talking to us anymore? So just be mindful of your mannerisms. When your eyes wander, kind of control this. And I'm going to tell you, your mind is a really tricky thing. And your minds are way more brilliant than mine. So you have more tricks that you have to deal with. But we can listen to about 450 plus minus words a minute. The average speaker speaks at about 150 words per minute. So you're looking at about a 75% time differential that you have to deal with now. And when your mind is let go, it just starts to wander, it starts to look, it starts to do things. And when we're in a conversation, maybe if you found yourself doing this, I know I have, you try to finish somebody's sentence. People don't like that. Please don't do that to them. Because it appears as if they are not speaking fast enough, as if you're in a hurry. So they'll find you obnoxious doing this. You might start looking around, start looking at other people, and the person's like, okay, so you're not with me anymore? So control your mind. So what do? You have to give them something to do. Give your mind something to do. Make it pay attention to what is said. Try not to start finishing a sentence for them. Try not to have a response for them already. You don't need to form this. You have time to wait until they're done. So that's something that you definitely want to make sure you do. So another thing I want you to be very cautious of, and that's an exercise I want to do at this point with all of you, because you're going to have to find a way to get to these groups, to talk to these groups, engage with the groups. So I want you to be mindful, and I may not get to all the tables, so bear with me, okay? Oh, and by the way, when I'm finished with this exercise, I'm going to ask you what you learned. So you have to pay attention and give me your undivided attention for a minute. We good on that? All right, let's go.
Hello, I'm Kathy Turner. It's nice to meet you
Krista
today.
Jones, nice to meet you.
We're messing this up, aren't we?
Okay, let me ask you, what have you learned? What about networking have you learned just right about now?
If you don't start it,
Pardon me?
if you don't start it, it doesn't happen.
I need you to speak this up.
If you don't start it, it doesn't happen.
So did it work for you to learn something about me if I walk around and I don't say a single thing? Does it work for you? Do you know how I can help you? Do you know how you could benefit from things I know or people I know? So if you walk around tonight and you're afraid to speak to people, how will they remember you? As that creep that was walking around and not talking? Don't be that creep. So what I want you to be comfortable with, just meet these people. You don't have to take them home. You don't have to live with them. Just get to know them. You never know what it may lead to. But if you don't speak, if they don't know who you are, how can they ever help you? Or better yet, what could you ever do for them? Do they know that? So if nothing else you remember from this day today, please, in a networking event, please do not be silent. You cannot be silent. Are we good on that? Can we just say it all together? Do not be silent. So I'll walk around tonight and I won't see anybody silently walking around and creeping up to groups, right? We good on this? Okay. So let's say our face-to-face event went great. We collected business cards. By the way, does everybody have business cards? If you don't have business cards, good job, young man. If you don't have business cards, please make sure you collect business cards from other people. 48 hours. You got 48 hours to contact these people and follow up with them. Anybody ever seen the show 48 Hours? They're trying to solve the, oops, how did I do this? Hello, hello? I think I just turned this off and I don't know how. It's on. Okay, I'm going to just shout. Can everybody still hear me? Okay, you may have to come a little close. I'll try to shout as loud as possible, but that's not working right now. It's on. So maybe we ran out of batteries. Anybody got batteries? Oh, we're on. We're back on? Nope, we're not back on. Okay, I'm going to keep shouting until it goes back on. So 48 hours means that show is trying to solve a crime within 48 hours. Why are they under the pressure of 48 hours? Why do you think? The trail gets old. Our knowledge evaporates. I'm sorry, the mic is not on. Hello, I can't do anything with this. Let's see. Hello? Oh, I'm just going to turn it on and off in between when it does go off. Maybe that's what it needed. Okay. So the trail gets cold in 48 hours or after 48 hours. And that's the same for networking. People forget who they talk to. If they forget you because you didn't follow up and then you come like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks later, and we're like, who is this person? How do I know them? 48 hours, follow up. Make this your homework assignment over the weekend. Please do follow up. So this is why you need a business card with somebody's email address. Here comes tricky part number 2, when you're doing emails. I would say I get on average emails, maybe about 200 to 300 emails a day. I work with 89 high schools for 22 programs with approximately 13 teachers per program. I have over 8,000 students right now registered. So that's a huge volume. So I cannot read every email. Plus, I'm teaching a class at night. So I got my students to deal with too. So what I rely on to make my priority on the emails is the subject line. That subject line is absolutely crucial. If you don't put something meaningful in the subject line, I don't know that it's important for me to talk to you. And you're going to go on the priority list rather low. If you have no subject line on your email, I will immediately delete it. Not because I'm rude, but because most virus-generated emails come without a subject line. So I'm just going to delete it, assuming this is not something that was meant for me in the first place. I'm not even going to try this. Your subject line should reflect the topic of your email. I should know what your email is about. The next thing, now I'm going to open your email. It'd be nice if you addressed me and you knew who I was, and don't just start it with, hey. We're not on hey basis, you know? So do you know my name? Do you know who you're writing to? If not, maybe a little bit of research would help. Then, how are you structuring your email? Is it going to be following grammar rules? Or am I going to find a bunch of typos? Is the teacher going to come out and I'm going to try to get that red marker and start marking up an email? Are you going to follow punctuation rules? Because English is not my first language. If you haven't picked this up yet, let me be the first one to tell you. English is not my first language, so I don't know naturally where your thought ends and a new one begins. If you misspell words, I will try to look them up in a dictionary because I don't recognize them. If you use big words and they mean something completely different from what you thought they were going to mean, you're changing my sentence. You're changing my comprehension. So I'm looking at all of these things because it shows quality in your communication. So make your email really matter. Treat it like a paper you're going to get a grade for. Don't just slap this together, and please, please do not abbreviate every other word because you can do this in texting. In an email, it's very confusing because these abbreviations, we make them up on the fly, don't we? We just string a couple of words or names or syllables together and we just say, okay, that's what it means for me. So make sure your email really matters. On your sheet, I would like to for you to pull this out. On the back page, I have a short exercise on there on the email self-assessment. I would like for you to take about a minute and just go through this. I'm going to ask you how you did, but you don't have to tell me. But it's this sheet that says networking, and on the back page, it has a little table format, and it says self-assessment, email self-assessment. Did everybody find that? I see some of you have to rub the pen. It doesn't even write. Oh, you might have to scratch it in there, huh? I'm not going to give you a grade, so if you can't write it in there, that's okay. It's a new pen, I get that. Looking at that email self-assessment, if you know the things that you do well, continue doing them. If you know things that you could improve upon, make it a concerted effort to do this, because email is a huge part of our communication. Emails sometimes get abused. We send emails that are way too long. I see it a lot in our district. We copy in the world on our replies. And the email goes out district-wide. And those are sometimes really great emails because people get awards and recognitions and things like this. So you definitely want to congratulate the person who did this. But you don't have to hit reply all on every email. That means about 5,000 people keep hitting reply all, and it brings down the system to a screeching halt. On other communications, I've seen where people were copied on a reply all just to kind of maybe be a little messy. Let's have a good purpose for copying in people. Why do these people have to be in this email communication? Why is this important? If you take things back to your intent, to your purpose, then you can kind of check it. You know, is this for something to help everybody with the communication? Or is there some other ulterior purpose that I'm doing this? So those are some of the pet peeves. I had a student who was stationed overseas. And I was advising her. I was at another college, and I was advising her on her classes and her pathway and so forth. And this student wrote long emails to me because that was all the communication, like I said, other country. And there was never, not one single period, no comma, 2-paragraph long emails. And I had to guess, where do they start? Where do they end? Where's the new sentence? So I would start reading them out loud. Now for that program alone, I was working with the Army and Air Force Exchange Services, and I had about 800 students to work with. So you can imagine the email volume. And here I have this email that's really slowing things down. So I asked the student, okay, if you, for whatever reason, save the punctuation for another day, I'm okay with this, but could you just start a new sentence with a capital letter? And she said, yes. I was like, yes, we got it. And I get the next email in all caps. Yikes, this made matters even worse. Now I felt like she was screaming at me. Not to mention, it makes it even harder to read if everything is in caps. So again, we had to have a conversation, and I said, you know, can you install Skype on your site, because we need to talk. Skype was a huge issue because she was stationed in a tent in Iraq. And the only time she had access to the internet was when the official operations, the military operations, were drawn down to a point that support missions, such as the Army and Air Force Exchange Services, would actually get to the internet. So we would meet like at 2 and 3 in the morning when I'm not the brightest, but we had to talk this through, and I had to explain to her, I cannot properly advise you if I cannot understand what you're asking me in the first place. If I don't get the information from you correctly, how am I supposed to help you? So it took us a while to get through it. But I encourage you, when you write emails, think about the person that's supposed to read this. Can they understand what you're asking of them? If their answers are kind of weird, they probably didn't understand what you was asking in the first place. So make sure you always think about the person that's getting your emails. And then when I know we do this because we email, and then all of a sudden we get to a new topic, but because we already have the email address in there, so we just keep hitting reply and hitting reply. But meantime, all of the information has already changed. There's a whole new conversation going on. This is the time when you should change the subject line. Because if I start sorting the emails and I go again by a priority, how do you think I'm going to treat a priority of an issue that we had 5, 6, 7 weeks ago? You think it's high or low? Low. It's going to be real low. So if it's something new came up, change the subject line. Is it going to cost you extra on the email to change the subject line? Nope. Nope. Should not. If it does, you need to check your email account. So those are some things on email you definitely want to be mindful of. But email is not the only way that you could follow up with potential contacts you make tonight. Anybody in here doing social media? Facebook? Anything like this? Look up these people. If they have an account on one of the social medias, that's a way to follow up with them too. Now, if you are the one having social media accounts, be very mindful. Whatever you do on social media, by the way, it stands true for email too, consider this being in the public. Think about what you post and how would you feel about this if you all of a sudden saw it as a billboard sign with your picture and your name underneath it. Are you okay with that? Think about who has access to your public information, to your photos, to your statements. Just this week, I don't know if you paid attention to it or if you saw it, if you had time to even see it, there was a lady, she blogs that's her job. She's a freelancer, she's a blogger. Somebody took her picture out of context, changed it, manipulated it with the software, put whole different information with it, and posted that. super, super embarrassing for her. Really hurt her reputation. And she didn't even do this. And it was a hell of a time for her to try to get this taken off. Now, what happens when you take off something, you finally get to take it off the web, or finally get to take it off the Facebook or wherever? Is it gone? No. Once it's out there, it lives indefinitely. So just be really aware of what you do online. Now, with the same time that I'm saying be very aware of what you're doing online, I'm encouraging you. I'm strongly, strongly encouraging you for your professional future to use social media. There are a lot of professional websites such as LinkedIn and so forth. You definitely want to have a public face. You want people to know, what you're good at, what you're interested in. If you put a profile picture up somewhere, and I see this unfortunately quite a bit, make sure that this is a photo that's really a good representation of you. If it's on a professional website, ask somebody to take a good picture of you. I recently had the daughter of a friend contacting me, asking me to like her, or I should say, accept her as a contact on LinkedIn. I was really excited to hear from her. She's doing great. She wanted to make some career moves. Okay, I have a lot of connections, so let's do this. So by default, the first thing I do is I click on a person's profile. That's not because I want to be rude. That's not because I'm trying to be controlling. But what you do when you connect with me also reflects on me. So she had a picture up there, and she's a beautiful, beautiful young girl. I mean, just amazing. She has the most precious smile you can think of. And so she was standing there. She was at a sorority event, and she was just happy, and she just looked gorgeous. And then I looked at the picture. I was like, why did she do this? And in the background, right behind her, was the booze table. There must have been at least 20-some bottles of booze on there, all kinds of alcohol. I don't mind you drinking alcohol. You're old enough. You can do this. But should you post that as your professional image? Not unless you're a bartender. And even then, it's questionable. So think about what you're posting. Think about what's behind you. Think about what's around you. So if you are not careful about it, this can reflect negative on you. So I called her up and I said, baby, I really do want to connect with you, but you're going to need to do me a favor, a real solid. And she said, what's that? I said, you're going to have to crop that picture. She said, why? You don't like it? I said, I love your face, girl. You look amazing. I said, but can you take a look at for a minute what's behind you on the table? And she looked this up and she said, oh, I didn't realize this. She said, you think people can see that? Yeah, everybody that clicks on your picture, and you look beautiful, so people are going to click on your picture. So she changed it, she just cropped it, and it was okay, and we're connected. Then I had a young teacher contacting me, and he wanted to connect because he wanted to work with some of the other faculty in the district. And he had a selfie on there. And it would have been bad enough to have a selfie when you see half of the arm. You know, it just doesn't look as professional. But where do you take a selfie? In front of a mirror? With the commode behind you? And your towels? And your hand towels? And your shower stuff? Are you serious? I'm seeing all of this. Why would I want to see this in a professional picture? So sure enough, I'm going to contact this person and say, I'd love to connect with you, but you're going to have to change your picture. And he goes, well, who do you think you are? Just because you work at the Dallas County Community College District doesn't mean you get to tell me what kind of picture I'm going to have on my LinkedIn. I said, you know, you are absolutely correct. I do not control it, nor can I ask you to do something. I said, but if you are reflecting on me, I'm just not going to be able to connect with you. So you either take the picture off, or we just don't connect, and I'm okay with this, because we can still email, and I'll be happy to put you in contact with all of the faculty that you need to work with. But you and I can't be publicly connected like this. So yes, I'm a stickler about this, because once your professional reputation is hurt, it's going to take you 10 times as much work to fix this reputation than it took you to gain it in the first place. So fixing something, and you cannot take things back. You cannot make them unhappy. You really have to deal with this face on. So the same thing is, and LinkedIn is no exception. I know on Facebook sometimes conversations get kind of heated and people kind of air out their dirty laundry. But on LinkedIn, I've seen it too, where people disagree with one another. You do not have to agree with something that is totally going against your grain. But you have to watch how you disagree. You have to watch what you're putting out in the world. You have to watch your language. You have to watch your tone. Do you think it's easy to be ironic, sarcastic on an email or Facebook or any kind of public media? You think that's going to come across right? How do people know when we're doing something sarcastically? The tone of your voice. Do we have this online? What's another way? If I kind of like playing with you, messing with you.
The look on your face.
The look on my face. Do you see the look on my face other than my profile picture? And that's if I have a decent profile picture on there in the first place. So you're missing a lot of clues. So just be careful how you communicate on the web, because it's out there. It's out there for the public to see. Be careful how you communicate, what you say, how you say it. And please, when you post something and you talk about things that you know, and you are an exceptional group, I would love to be connected with all of you, because you are so bright and brilliant. So people need to see what you have to contribute. People need to understand what you all know and where you're heading and the things that you're doing in your future. They need to know that. They can help you, but they can also benefit from you. But when you post something, again, this must be an A paper quality. It cannot be riddled with typos. You should not take this lightly. I never post directly on any site. I always type it in Word first, for 2 reasons. Number 1, spell check. Number 2, I can think this through before I hit accidentally click post. The moment you post it, it's out there. Yes, you can retract it. You can retract an email too. But if somebody was already connected and already saw this, and how fast is it when you post something that somebody hits like? Does it take 5 minutes? 10 minutes? 20 minutes? 5 seconds? The moment you post it, like, so it's out there. Think about what you're doing. You are not taking this back. So if you put this in a safe media, and the same, by the way, goes true for an email. If you type an email and you're rather upset, do not type it in email. Type it in Word, because you won't be so easy to accidentally actually send it off. If you type it in email, don't put a person in there yet, because then if you accidentally hit send, it's not going anywhere. It says, hey, where do you want me to send it to? Think about it. Think about what you do, the things that you cannot take back. If you do networking well, it's going to serve you tenfold. I guarantee you this. People will remember what you said. They will remember what you're doing. They will know what you're involved with and what you can contribute to their benefits. So let's say tonight you're walking around, and what you gonna do? You're gonna come to the group and nobody's talking. So we're all just looking at each other.
Introduce myself.
You're gonna introduce yourself. Please
Hi.
do.
I'm Murray Gans from Eastfield College.
He's from Eastfield College. And your name again?
Murray Gans.
Marie Gans. So, Marie, it was so nice to meet you. We will talk a little bit later
Okay.
about things.
Nice to meet you too.
Nice to meet you. Very nice. The first thing you overcome some nervousness, try to repeat their name. If you didn't hear it right, this is perfect. Just ask again. Sometimes you may have to explain how your name is spelled. For me, it helps me when I know how somebody's name is spelled, then I won't butcher it the second time. And it's easy for me to remember when I write an email to you. If you are not sure how to open a conversation, why are these people coming here tonight? What do you think? Why are they coming here tonight? Say what?
STEM scholars.
For STEM scholars. Why are they interested in STEM scholars? What do you think?
They're in STEM fields.
They're in STEM fields. So you could be potentially an employee. You could be potentially a research student for them. They want something from you. If you don't know what they want from you, it is perfectly okay for you to say, you know, I really appreciate your support. You taking the time out of your busy schedule to come here tonight. I can't help but wonder, how do I fit, or how do we as a group fit into your business plan? Wouldn't it be great to know? Why are you supporting us? What do you expect to get from this? When do you expect to see results? How do you know that you're getting results? How can I make sure that I'm on target to deliver the results that you're expecting to see? You see, when you make it about them, asking questions is really not that awkward. You do not have to ask, well, where did you come from? Who are you? Tell me something about your personal life. They may still do this. But if you're not sure how to open it, make it about them. Let them tell you how you're a part of their long-range plan. Because I can tell you, these are all successful business people. From the list that I'm looking at, they have accomplished a lot. They will not just go somewhere and waste their time. They will be very deliberate about anything they do, how they invest time, how they will invest money. Their investment doesn't have to be paying dividends in dollar amounts. Their investment could be a new development that comes out of your research, out of your knowledge. Maybe you need to know far ahead of time what they are trying to research so you can study this while you're in school. They know that you got probably another 2, 3, 4 years in school ahead of you. So they have a long-range plan. What is the plan? Ask them. Ask them how you fit in this plan. The more you know about them, the more you make it about them, the more you will learn the things that will benefit you and how you're going to fit, and also how you're going to follow up with them. Because those are conversations that are important to you. You need to know that in 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, when you're coming out of school, that there are jobs, that there are fields, that there are careers. You need to know these things, because otherwise, what are you going to do when you get out of school? We can't just all sit around. We're going to have to do something. So ask those questions of these people when they're coming here. So networking doesn't have to be awkward. Networking doesn't have to be difficult. Remember, you're there for what? I put it on here so you will never forget. Network is about helping others. If you remember to network to help others, network will never, never be awkward to you. When you go in and thinking, ooh, I don't want to ask them outright for money or for scholarships or da-da-da-da-da. You don't have to. Let them know how bright you are. They will be happy to support you, however long it may take, because they already understand that all of you are a major benefit to them personally, professionally, and to the economy that they are living in. So we really need to work all together on this and make sure that we understand how we work together, we know about each other. How do you build a relationship if we don't even talk? If I never meet Maury, how do I know what we can do together? I work with Eastfield all the time. I need to know who he is. Where does he work? What does he do? You don't build a relationship overnight, not in one meeting. But you can establish a certain level of trust. with the first meeting, if they can feel that you are sincere, if they feel that you are there for them, they will feel that they have made a good choice to come here tonight and talk to you. So the other thing I would like to remind you of, think about yourself. Know your value and know your values. If you know how valuable you are to the community, to the professions, to future careers, to society, you're going to go into it very relaxed. If you understand what's important to you, when people ask you, well, why don't you tell me a little bit about yourself? Have you ever had people asking you that? And you're like, I don't know what you want me to say now. Well, you could just start off and say, you know what? There's so much I could tell you about myself. I'm not really sure. What would be most appropriate for you to know right this minute? Because we don't have 2 hours. And I've had a really great life already. I'm a young person, but there's a lot to tell about myself. What would be most helpful for you to know? About school, about my future plans, what I'm doing right now, where I'm coming from, what languages I speak. What is it that you want to know? So again, engage them back in the conversation. And then when they say, well, I just want to understand what's important to you. What's important to you? Do you know? Think about that for a minute. If you write nothing down in between now and tonight, write down what is truly, deeply important to you. I can tell you the most important thing in my life are children. Because to me, children means future. Means their future, means my future. So when I know what's really important to me, and that's children, I can always talk about it. I can connect it back to work. I can connect it to my professional life, to my personal life. And then in about 2.5 minutes, the conversation changes and they'll pick another topic. So don't worry about that you have to give a 2-hour dissertation on your values, but be prepared to talk about what is really important to you and what really matters to you. And I have this beautiful watch on that doesn't work. It's just for looks, I promise you. And so I always have to check to make sure I'm not going over your time. I would like to do another exercise with y'all. If you have an account on Facebook, would you please stand up? Does it include what?
Yeah, whether we use it or not.
No, it doesn't include. I'm not going to ask you to post something right this second. If you have an account on LinkedIn, would you please stand up? No, the others please stay standing. Please do stay standing. If you have an account on Pinterest, please stand up. If you have an account on YouTube channel, please stand up.
For the
If you have an account on Orkut, please stand up. Orkut, it's another social networking site, okay. What about Google Hangouts? Anybody got anything on Google Hangouts? Okay. So which ones have I missed so far?
Twitter,
Twitter. Who's doing Twitter? Yes, tweeting.
Instagram,
Instagram. What about blogging? Who's blogging? Okay, so when I'm looking around here, and if you haven't stood up yet, then that means I haven't thought about your social network or the tools that you use the most. So you feel free to help me out. But if you look around now, you can see that you all may already be connected electronically somehow. And all of the connections that you have are connected to other people and other people. You may sit down. I'm sorry, I'm not going to make you do an exercise next. We could have done jumping jacks. So when you think about the social networking that you're already doing, you're doing it without really thinking about it that hard. Now, I want to derail just slightly. Because of all the social networking we do with, because of all of these accounts and programs that we deal with online, how many of you try to use the same password so you can remember it? Okay. Yikes. Please don't. Please don't. And the reason I say that, it's the easiest thing to hack you all with the same account. Once I get control of your site, what do you think I can do with your site? I can ruin your reputation. I can ruin your entire image. And trust me, there's some people that are just, how should I say, motivated just by the challenge. It's not something personally that they have against you. So please, when you use any kind of online accounts, please do not recycle your passwords. I currently have about 187 accounts from Amazon down to the district, different things. And I have 187 different passwords. Yes. And I have a really small head and a very low capacity. So then I know that when my passwords are 13 digits, they get very safe, because it will even take a computer to up to about 26 million years to hack it, because I'm going to use a mix of numbers and letters, lower and uppercase, and special symbols. Yet, I only have to remember one password I have to remember. And that's the one on my Dropbox. Because on Dropbox, I keep the list of all the others. Because I will not remember all of them. And if somebody hacks my Dropbox, that list is absolutely useless. I could have actually printed it to you today. I could have given it to you. Because all I have on my Dropbox, it will say, here's the company I have the account with. Here's the login. And the login will just say home email, work email, disposable email, German email. Means nothing to you, unless you know all of these email addresses. And then my password will be just explained. It will just be a hint of probably 256 individual digits, letters and numbers, a string of things that I can fit in an Excel spreadsheet. And then I'll do something really tricky that helps me. I have a section in my password that never changes. So I only have to remember part of the password. So when a new password comes along, so let's say I have LinkedIn, and it's a social network, I could call it LK for LinkedIn, or LN, first, last letters, whatever you're gonna use. Social network, use some letters out of this. Then I'll use, let's say, my driver's license number, or my license plate. Do y'all know your license plate? I don't either. I take a picture of it and put it on my phone with me in front of it. So I look at the picture of me in front of my car next to the license plate. And that's how I remember my license plate. And I'll do the same thing for the other family members. And so it will say something, social network, LinkedIn, license number, husband, and short. I'll just call it short. And short would mean something that would make up the remaining letters. And that could be just 1 exclamation mark. And if I keep that consistent, and the only thing that changes in there is maybe the Facebook to LinkedIn and vice versa, there's not that many changes, but I still stick with 13 digits. Keep your stuff safe. When you put everything out to the world, just like you wouldn't hand everybody a key to your house so they can come in and ruin your reputation or ruin your life, you have to learn to be very safe when you talk about your personal, professional image online. If you don't do this, you can get hit. I've seen people that got stolen identities, money taken out of accounts, and so forth. So don't connect your social networks where there are a gazillion people on it And you will have to network, and you can't always do a background check. You can't ask your people, well, before I allow you on my social network, would you please agree to do a background check? They're just gonna look at you and say, yeah, whatever. So you can't do this. So you don't know who exactly you're connecting with. So stay safe, because when you are connecting your professional image, your future online, you have an obligation. You have a responsibility to make sure that reputation does not get hurt or ruined by somebody who's doing something mischievous that they think is just fun. When you put pictures on social networks, think about this picture first. First of all, if you took it with your phone, what do you want to turn off? Can you, I'm gonna have him hold the phone here.
Turn off geo-tracking,
Why would you turn it off?
because every picture has a geotag, tells them where you took it.
So if I took that picture of the car in front of my house, would somebody know where I live? Do I need to have everybody know exactly where I live? No. And neither should you. If you take pictures inside your house, people don't need to know everything about you. So just be a little bit more cautious, because your professional life matters a lot in your personal life. Because how well you conduct yourself professionally will have a direct impact on your personal life as well. So just be mindful of these things, think these things through, and just have fun. Have a lot of fun networking tonight. You will meet some awesome, awesome people. And if you haven't looked them up yet online, maybe you should do that sometime before you go into a networking event. Know who you may be running into. Maybe there's some questions that you can ask them. So it's okay to snoop a little bit. Just, again, don't be creepy. If you find out the name of their dog and their birthday, and they just had some certain events, you don't have to say all of that. You know, try to keep it professional. Don't make them feel like uncomfortable. So no creeping tonight, no silence, and just a whole lot of fun. I want you to learn a lot about these people and learn how you can contribute. I hope this was helpful to you. My address, my email address, my email address is on this two-page paper that I handed out to you. So if you have any questions, or if you need this paper electronically so you can click on the links, just let me know, shoot me an email. I will definitely give you anything that I can do to help you. Thank you. You have a great time.